Hey, my friend, let me tell you something that most folks completely missed, but could end up being huge for us. Stephen Jones gave an interview on 105.3 The Fan, and while a lot of fans tuned out the moment his voice came on, yeah, I get it, it happens. Those of us who stayed locked in caught something interesting, something subtle, a signal, really. Jones casually mentioned that teams across the league may be looking to move on from veteran players, especially for cap reasons. Then he slipped in this little gem. There's still value out there. Now, at first, it might sound like typical front office talk, but if you've followed the Cowboys long enough, you know Stephen doesn't say stuff like that without something already brewing behind the scenes. Remember last time he hinted that the Cowboys weren't done yet? Not long after that, boom, a trade. So when he says, once again, it's not over yet, you've got to pay attention. These kinds of comments don't just happen for no reason. It's a message, quiet maybe, but loud enough for those who are really listening. And what makes this moment even more interesting is that he wasn't talking about just filling holes. He said there's value in veteran players. That's not about long-term projects. That's about impact, experience, players who can walk in the door and contribute right now. So let me ask you something. Do you think another trade is coming? Drop a comment and tell me, who's your dream veteran pickup before the draft? Is it a big name? A locker room leader? Someone on the edge or in the secondary? And hey, if you're the kind of fan who loves catching these behind-the-scenes moves before they hit the headlines, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Your subscription is what helps keep Cowboys News TV alive and kicking. Let's keep growing together. We're marching toward 13,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. All right, now that we've caught that signal, let's dig deeper into what it means for the Cowboys' overall strategy this offseason. So now that you caught that quiet signal from Stephen Jones, let's talk about what it actually means when we zoom out a bit. Because here's the truth, my friend. The Cowboys aren't chasing headlines this offseason. They're chasing depth. Yeah, I know. That's not the flashy stuff fans love to see. No splashy signings, no blockbuster trades, yet. But if you paid attention to the rest of Jones's interview, he doubled down on something he said before. This front office believes in building a complete roster, not just loading up on big names. It's easy to get caught up wanting a superstar. We've all been there. You scroll Twitter, see a big name hit the market, and start dreaming about that player in a Cowboys uniform. But Jones is making it clear. They're not panicking. They're not overpaying. They're stacking the roster piece by piece. This is about setting up a draft that isn't desperate. When you build depth ahead of time, you don't walk into the draft forced to take a position you ignored. You can go best player available. You can trade down. You can actually stick to your board. And look, whether you agree with it or not, it's a calculated approach. Think about it. If you've got 3 solid safeties already, you don't have to draft one in the first round. If your O-line room is full of mid-tier veterans, you can gamble on upside in the later rounds. It gives you freedom. Now, I want to bring you in on this. Do you think this depth-first strategy is the right call for the Cowboys? Or do you still think we need that instant impact star? Vote in the poll on screen right now and drop a comment below. Let me know if you're rolling with Team Depth or Team Star. I'll be reading your takes all day long. And hey, don't be shy, this channel is all about your voice. So if you've got an opinion, put it out there. That's what makes the Cowboys News TV community different. We build this together. Coming up next, let's dive into some real names. Because even with this strategy, the market is still open, and there are some veterans out there who could turn the Cowboys into true contenders. All right, now that we've unpacked the Cowboys' depth-first game plan, here's where it gets exciting. Just because Dallas isn't chasing stars doesn't mean stars aren't still in play. The market is very much open, and some serious names are out there. Let's start with a guy who needs no introduction, Von Miller. Yes, he's Not in his prime anymore, but imagine pairing his veteran presence with Micah Parsons. You suddenly have a pass rush duo that demands respect, and that's even if Miller only gives you 25 snaps a game. Remember, this front office loves calculated value, and Vaughn, at the right price, could be exactly that. Or how about Stephon Gilmore? There's already history there. He knows Dan Quinn's system. He played well for Dallas last season. And right now, the cornerback room could use a steady, experienced hand opposite Trevon Diggs. Now, let's get a little more ambitious. Tyler Lockett. If the Seahawks are truly entering a reset, Lockett could be on the move. He's consistent, clutch, and a route-running technician. Add him next to CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, suddenly you've got one of the smartest receiver rooms in the NFL. But maybe you're dreaming even bigger. Maybe you're thinking Jair Alexander. Yep, there have been whispers. And if the Packers really are open to listening, you better believe the Cowboys should pick up the phone. That kind of shutdown corner doesn't come cheap, but it's the type of move that shifts a defense. Here's the thing. Trades might make more sense than free agent signings right now. Why? Because most of the top-tier free agents are already gone, and trades give you control. You're not just throwing a huge contract at someone. You're strategically targeting guys who still have upside and can fill precise roles. So now I gotta ask you, which of these names would you love to see in a Cowboys uniform? Drop your pick in the comments right now. And if this video's making sense to you so far, smash that like button. It helps more Cowboys fans like you find this content, and trust me, that kind of support means the world to us here at Cowboys News TV. Up next, it's time to talk about Micah Parsons, because while some folks are still criticizing his off-field presence, Max Crosby just proved that Micah's got nothing to explain to anyone. Let's switch gears now and talk about someone who's been right at the center of attention, Micah Parsons. You've probably seen the chatter online, critics questioning his focus, doubting his commitment, pointing fingers at his podcast, appearances, and off-field presence like it's some kind of distraction. But then comes Max Crosby, and just like that, the entire conversation flips. This week, Crosby accepted an administrative role at Eastern Michigan University, a leadership position, within the school's athletic department, all while still playing for the Raiders. Let that sink in. He's literally holding down a front office job and preparing for the NFL season at the same time. And you know what the public reaction was? Applause. Admiration, not a whisper of criticism. So here's the million-dollar question. If Crosby gets praise for expanding his influence beyond the field, why is Parsons constantly under the microscope? The truth is, Micah is one of the most passionate, relentless, and dedicated players in the league. Just look at the tape. His motor never quits, his production is elite, and his leadership has only grown since his rookie year. If he wants to speak his mind on a podcast or build his personal brand, what's the problem? Let's be real. This is 2025. Players today are more than just athletes. They're entrepreneurs, influencers, mentors, and community leaders. And Parsons? He's all of that without taking his eyes off the bigger prize, bringing a Super Bowl back to Dallas. And here's a thought to drop in the comments. After seeing what Max Crosby is doing, do you still think Micah's podcast is a distraction? Or is the double standard just too obvious now? I want to hear where you stand on this. Oh, and hey, if you've made it this far in the video and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? It's free, it's fast, and it's the best way to help us hit our goal of 13,000 subscribers. Your support keeps this Cowboys community strong. Now let's wrap this up with a look ahead. The draft is coming fast, and there's still plenty Dallas might pull off before the clock starts ticking. All right, partner, let's bring this home. The NFL draft is right around the corner, but don't be surprised if the Cowboys still have a trick or two up their sleeves before that first pick is announced. We've seen it before. This front office moves quietly, and then suddenly, boom. A trade, a late signing, a move no one saw coming. That's the Dallas way. Stephen Jones said it himself. This roster is still being shaped, and while some fans are holding their breath for a big-name splash, what's more likely is a few smart, targeted moves that reinforce depth and give the team flexibility when the draft kicks off. So here's what you can expect. Dallas might shuffle some contracts, clear a bit more cap space, or even explore trade scenarios that help them move up or down the draft board. One thing's for sure, they're not done. Not yet. And you, as a fan, need to stay locked in, because this is the part of the offseason where front offices earn their paycheck. Quiet on the outside, but behind the scenes, wheels are turning. Now I gotta ask, what would you love to see the Cowboys do before the draft? Another trade? A surprise signing? Maybe even a big move up the board for a top prospect? Drop your take in the comments, and let's get the debate going down there. And remember, my friend, nobody's played a single snap yet. That means everyone's still undefeated, Dallas included. So let's enjoy this moment, stay hopeful, and get ready for whatever's next. And hey, if this video kept you informed, entertained, or just a little more fired up about the Cowboys, share it with a fellow fan. Let's keep growing this community. How about them Cowboys?